Yes, it is.
Thanks. Okay, thanks. Welcome back, everyone. We'll still, aim to finish, our webinars, by one, and we're gonna now, shift our gear. We constantly only thinking about our companies, the places we work. So I'm gonna make a bit of a shift. Okay, and now, get to the discussion on our personal financial plan. I'll tell you, in my experience, I'll keep this session very light. Okay, there are some quick, messages that I wanted to share, and also, give, some thoughts, some models, which you can think about and use. Because, in the last 8 9 months, every corporate meeting that I've gone to, and after this meeting have finished, I have been pulled into private chats, with senior employees and CXO, CFOs, where everyone has asked me a question that what should we be doing during these times, okay, when it comes to handling our personal finance? Because it seems that, we are doing things a bit of pieces, here and there, but we don't have a very cohesive, way of looking. And pandemic, is teaching us, some very, very, critical lessons. I must say that, it's telling us that, we need to revisit, our financial goals. Okay, and first of all, have we even created our financial goals? Okay, then how should we look at uncertainty? Okay, like this is a time of uncertainty, for many of us. And when we look at, these times, then we comes, to the discussion on, we look at risk relating to disability, risk which are relating to death. These are all, events. If they are remote events also, and if they were to occur, correct, if they were to occur, are we prepared for it? Okay, have we been spending any time? We are spending a lot of time earning money, that I don't think any one of us can deny, but we are hardly putting any time in managing the money, that we are earning. Okay, this is one concern I think all of us have, right? I'm sure some of you are, doing much better in terms of your financial planning, but it's also reality the majority of us are not spending time. So there are three parts, to this entire discussion. One is on financial planning, is one is, where you are creating income, creating wealth, and that is not enough. The second part, comes to preserving that wealth, preserving what you're creating. And third thing is to create structures through which, you can allow the transfer, of this wealth, okay, in a way which doesn't require, too much of your involvement. Then if you have done these three pillars, right, creating wealth, preserving it, and then created, structures, models through which, it can transfer, to your next generation, to your family, irrespective of your presence. I think that is what, pandemic is basically, teaching us. Okay, so what our idea, for the probably the next, 20 30 minutes before we break into a Q&A, okay, is to basically, my success, in this webinar will be that if I'm able to answer for you why financial planning, okay, and what we should be doing, and give you, one or two areas on how to do it. If I'm able to achieve that, then I think that, I have at least sensitized, most one of you, okay, on why this is very important for us. So let's look at, why financial planning, is necessary. The first important reason is that, we want to ensure that, we maintain a certain standard of living. We have a certain lifestyle, that we give to our families, and financial planning should be allow us, to at least maintain that lifestyle, as we grow. Okay, and get to, at a retirement phase. No one of us, would like to compromise at least on the lifestyle that we currently have. If we grow in our lifestyle, no problem, but we should be able to maintain. So what planning, are we doing to ensure, that we do that? Number two is that, human aspirations can never be curtailed, right? We are constantly looking to be slightly more than what we are right now. Okay, we all dream. We dream for ourselves, we dream for our children, we dream for our families, right? What planning are we doing to ensure, okay, that we'll be able to fulfill, our dreams and aspirations? Okay, third thing is in terms of health. That, there are, I think, we all know that, you might have money, but if you don't have health, we are not going to enjoy it. So what are we doing, to ensure that, my health is appropriately protected, and I have taken enough covers, to go for the best health schemes, that's possible, which also needs, planning, because, we can see the kind of diseases that are hitting, in the last 5 6 years, right? It can really get, a lot of people unguarded, totally, including, COVID. So that's the third, reason. And the fourth one is that, we want to leave an easy legacy, back, to people who are behind us, our families, our children. Okay. So I think this is what I thought it would be important, to share with all of you, that why, we think that, this planning, is extremely critical. Now let's get to the next point, that if this is necessary, what is your plan? Okay. And is there really a plan? A plan basically means that you have a wholesome connect, okay, between the start to the end. Okay. And a plan basically means that you have set up financial goals in a way where they're all woven with each other. Not like, today I decided to buy a property, it's a separate plan. Then I don't know what I'm going to do about my child's goal, whether they're relating to education or marriage, right? We don't know. If, let's say, I'm a person who loves traveling and I would like to travel, significantly and, prevalently, after 55, 60, what is a plan for that, right? So you have different financial goals, but have those goals been woven, with each other, and are they cohesive and talking to each other? Otherwise, a lot of planning, at least in my experience that I've seen, is that hearsay. Okay, someone said this, let's do that. Someone is following that. Someone is buying Safaricom, let me also buy. So I think, that is one fundamental question, that we need to ask ourselves, is that, do we really have a plan? And is that plan cohesive? Okay. The general, formulas that are used, in terms of, doing planning, okay, is that you need to plan for a purpose. Your purpose should be clear, whether, you could have retirement plans, you could have specific expense plans like your children's education or buying a property. Then, there are planning also to be done for unexpected events. For example, what has just happened, COVID. If an earning member of a family, passes away, right? And if I'm, let's say, my earning member of my family, and something was to happen to me, then what? Then what's the plan, right? Where's the contingency plan? And then, there are those special, events like birthday and marriages and world tours, that, we are, it's one human life and we should be living the best, right? So there should be some plans if these are part of the financial goals. So I think, these are some, things that, we should be fundamentally, thinking about. Okay. And why, this thinking is very important, because, the dynamics of living is changing. Okay. We have shorter working lives and we have longer life expectancy. Okay. That is one reason. Okay. Number two, we are living in nuclear families, not like, what used to happen, 15, 20 years back, or even if we look at our, generation just one before, 7 children, 8 children in a family, right? And now, the families are squeezing, they're becoming smaller. Right? Then there is lifestyle inflation, okay, that I will discuss with you. How your expenses today in your current lifestyle are going to look like, let's say 20 years, 30 years down the line, even with your current living standard. What are those expenses going to look like? And then there is also changing outlook, to how we want to retire, right? Eventually, at some point in time, we will all retire, from a very active working. So these are, changing dynamics. So let's look at, some of this. So I said, shorter working life and longer life expectancy. And now, just look, what used to happen 2 generations back with our parents and now with us, right? If you look at, the 2 generations back, right? People used to start working very early at 20, then we'll spend, 40 years working. And then, we'll have probably, a lifespan of 10 years, after we retire. Look at how it is squeezing. If you look at our parents, right? They started, slightly later at 22, 23. They worked, for good 30, 35 years. But, have another 25 years, of retirement life to live. Okay. And then if you look at what's happening now, okay, is that with, the thrust on higher education, right? With the thrust on, post qualification, we are entering into the labor force only very late, right? And then majority of us want to retire also very early. Okay, some of us want to retire, by will, that I want to retire. Correct. Some of us, you have to remember that when you're working in a private sector, okay, there will always be a natural churn happening where younger people, will be given, a chance, more than us, by the time we get to that age, because we are expensive, we might not be very updated, various other reasons, right? So especially people in the private sector, our working life is squeezing, correct? But our life expectancy is higher. Why? Because there are, superb healthcare facilities now available, minus what has happened in pandemic, right? Healthcare facilities are only getting better. New and new medicines are only coming in, right? So which means that, we are going to live longer after our retirement than what our previous two generations, have lived. Right? So I think, this is what, is making this financial planning, even more important, for us. Let's look at the next slide, on nuclear families. In joint families, when we used to stay larger families, we used to share financial, responsibilities with each other. Okay. But now, the family squeezing in, right? Now, many couples, you see that, single child, right? And what is going to happen is that, when the child grows and, is on its own in a different country, right? They are not staying together. So now if we retire, and when we retire, if the children are not there to take care of us, it is going to push us in some sort of, being in livelihood, right, to keep ourselves running. And in fact, that is already happening. If you see now, you see the amount of, the population of, people above the age of 60 years continuing, in some sort of active employment, okay, to keep themselves, running, because children are not. So I think this is another reason why, we should be thinking about. Now let's, I talked about lifestyle inflation, okay, and I've done a very, quick example, for us to understand that. Let's say, your annual, living expense currently is, let's say, 250,000 shillings. Okay, just keeping, and this maintains your certain lifestyle at this point. Look at that, this cost at its current standard, just, by multiplying the inflation, how it increases every year. The inflation, data is being recently released worldwide, even Kenya, we are suffering inflation, of 6%, 6.5%, almost every year, right? So even at your current expense level, if I just, take inflation, this 250,000 shillings will require you a million shilling in 20 years time. It will make it 2 million shilling in 30 years time, and it's going to make you 4 million shillings in 40 years time. So even to maintain, your current lifestyle, your current expenses, okay, are growing purely because of inflation. Now, if let's say, we haven't planned, to have a 40 million, 4 million shilling, cash flow available, okay, when you retire, or 2 million shilling cash flow available, when you retire in 20 years or 30 years time, right? How are you going to manage, right? So this was, another area very carefully to look at. And I'll come, there's a small example, I will share with all of you, so you find it, how it develops. And next thing is that, our entire outlook to retirement is changing, right? Previously, if you look at our fathers, when they retire, they will go to pilgrimage and, live a bit of a silent life, leading, reading books and, being in your farmhouse. But look at the way it is changing now. Retirement means a lot of fun, right? Retirement means you have to do a world tour. Retirement means so many things for us right now, right? So our expectations, on how we are moving is also dependent upon, how the society is looking at us, and what we want to also show to the society, that we are pretty much successful, and we've had a good working life. And there's nothing wrong in that, right? But this needs funding, right? And you need to plan, for this. So I think, with those comments, let's realize one thing which we're not realizing right now, that we work for 30 years to fund the next 30 years. Okay. Average life expectancy, let's say, has touched 75, 80 years. If you retire, at 55, you have another 20 years to take care. You have to work now to make those 20 years work. Okay. Otherwise, life is going to be really difficult, for us, by the time we get there. Now, so what this basically is saying, that, with every year passing by, you need to invest in that 1 year after 30 years. So if you're at 32, you need to fund your 62nd year. If you're at 40, you need to fund your 70th year. Okay. And every time you miss funding 1 year, 30 years down the line, you have to work for 1 more year to make sure that you have planned yourself, properly. Okay. So that's what, we're trying to say. And again, based on, our experience, we see that majority people, started doing their retirement planning at the age of 49 or 50, right? Which is which is very, very late. You can do a catch up, but a lot of your investment planning products come at a very expensive price to you, as compared to if you were to start, if you're in your 25 or in your 30, even early 30s, is a good time to start. Okay, so I think with that, let's look at what's happening in Kenya, right? I was reading, there was a very beautiful census done on the Kenyan population, and look at how our distribution is, right? 39% of our population, okay, is under the age of 15 years. 36% of the population is between 15 to 35 years, and 25% of the population is above the age of 35 years right now, out of which 21% is between less than 65 and the balance above. If you look at this kind of distribution, right, this kind of planning, will give you a kick, right? That look at, how many people are going to retire, let's say in the year 2040, 20 years down the line. How many people in Kenya? We have a very young population right now. Let me tell you, 70, look at this, slide. 75% of our population is under the age of 35 years, which means that's why I'm very upbeat that Kenya is going to grow, continue growing, right? Because they will demand, the domestic consumption is going to be high. But I'm also concerned, looking at that if we don't have a proper, retirement funding planning, even at a country level, how many people are going to retire in the next 25 years is significant. Okay, and are we ready? Are the millennials ready to retire? Okay, approximately my sense is that 35% of our current population will retire somewhere between 2040 to 2050. And let me also bring another fact that we are a population that is driven by consumption. Okay, we are expensive. We have very expensive living, right? I think that we are probably the only generation that is this planet has seen that has been so comfortable. Okay, so do you think that we'll be able to unwind all that suddenly when you reach retirement? I don't think so. I think if we say yes, we'll be able to. I think we are really fooling ourselves by saying that our consumption patterns are very high. We live in this very highly digitized age. We live in an age where a lot is about what people are thinking about us, where I'm going, what I'm doing, right? So we need to plan ourselves accordingly. So with that let's look at the small slide which we have done. Okay, that your first step, okay, your first step is to take stock. Okay, where we are. Okay, our first step is to take stock of where we are, because until you have taken stock you cannot move ahead. Let me tell you. Okay, this I'm telling you based on my personal experience also, and also based on some advices that I've been doing recently, last 6-7 months, for those families who have been affected very badly. Earning members have passed away. So based on that experience, I'm sharing with you that if you're not taken stock, you can't move ahead. Once you have taken stock is when you can start developing your financial. Okay. So if I have to share with you, okay, on what do you do for doing a stock take. Okay. So let me share something with you, okay, that we started preparing to assist some of our clients in this process. Okay, just give me a second. I will right. So let me share something with all of you, that we prepared this which is called a personal finance organizer. Okay, and this is over a period of time with various questions and various meetings and other things that we had. Okay, we started putting this together, and so that you have, every one of us should have one file at our home. Okay, which your spouse or a responsible member of your family is aware about. Okay, where you record everything which is relating to your current financial status. Okay, so let me show you what we have put in here. Okay, so that you realize that what are the things that we are missing. Okay, important contacts: who's your family doctor, who's your tax consultant, if you've taken insurance policies, a lot of things. Remember, the earning member of the family is in touch with everyone. The spouse doesn't know anything about it. The children doesn't know anything about it. So if something was to go wrong, you start thinking where to start from. A lot of them, I've realized, I was just dealing, with another family, last week. They don't even know, which are the places you have your bank accounts, right? And where you have nominees, where you don't have nominees. A lot of this information is not available with everyone. So this organizer will allow you to put all this information, together, okay, including, things like, your PIN details, your ITAX stuff, your e-citizen stuff, your NSSF, your NHIF, what all bank accounts you hold, what are the operating instructions on those accounts, who are the nominees in these accounts, what are the mobile numbers that are linked with it, if you have lockers, if you have ATM details, debit card details, CVV number. These are very confidential document, let me tell you, but we need to prepare a document like this, okay, and which should be readily available if something was to happen and it needs to be accessed, okay. Your credit card details, right? Then where are your insurance policy, location of your important document, that's another problem, okay. And I will tell you, if I'm telling you all this, doesn't mean that I'm very organized in everything, but I've started learning this, lessons as you go through the experience, right? A lot of times, your family doesn't know where your insurance policy papers are, where your investment papers are, where your property papers are, where your domicile certificates are kept. If there is a will someone has prepared, what is the custody of that will, locker keys, things like this, right? So this is extremely critical, to have a piece of document where your demat accounts are. A lot of love, we are going frenzy, we are doing Bitcoin and crypto and shares, but who knows apart from you? That's a question that we need to ask. Your mutual funds, bond, debentures, all these documents, needs to be summarized at one place. Your property, land property details, your pension account, so critical. Your pension account, what is the operating instruction on your pension account? Where are your fixed deposit? What are the maturity dates? Are they on reinvestment model? Are they on an interest payout model? I'm telling you, a lot of things, we have been missing. Okay? Your life insurance policy is most critical. And remember that, life insurance, your claims have to be done within a certain period. So this data becomes very critical for us. Okay. Also remember that if your spouse has told you that, oh, don't worry, you're a nominee. Okay, you've been nominated. Remember that a nominee is not a legal heir. Okay, nominee only takes charge. It's a custodian who has taken charge on behalf of a legal heir. Okay, so there's a difference. Let's not just be happy saying that, okay, I'm already nominated, on that bank account. It doesn't, when it comes to transfer, it doesn't really help you. Okay, though it helps you to have the custody. So your life insurance, your general insurance policies, where your will is, who is the executor of the will, who has witnessed the will, who is the power of attorney to execute it, what debts and liabilities are you holding, right? Again, there's another challenge that I've seen, that we are advising, the spouse doesn't know that where all borrowings are there, whom have we borrowed. Now, getting calls, people, we live in also in a good world and not so good world also, right? So we are also talking about, that people are now making claims that that there was a borrowing. So what borrowings you have, who is the guarantor for those borrowings, what liabilities. So I think what we will do is that we will, as part of the toolkit, sorry. So, we are going to share with you a link at the end of this webinar where we have prepared a toolkit. Okay. That toolkit, has this document. We are sharing this with you and we are requesting you that prepare a file, fill this document and bring it to the notice of a critical member of your family. It's your spouse and any other responsible. Also remember the safety of this document is very important. Okay, don't keep it loose. You have a safe. Let the responsible member of the family be aware about it and share it with them. Okay, sit with them. Let them go through it. Let them ask you any questions they want. Don't get irritated, right? If they're asking you questions about who's the insurance agent, then I want to talk to them. Make them talk. Do a couple of meetings. But it's very important, that you help them establish a contact. Okay, in the eventuality, okay, something was to happen. So I think that's one thing that we're going to share with you at the end. Okay. Now, June, can you confirm my screen is visible?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay, thanks. So now, with that first step done, okay, Let's move, to an example, and after this, we'll end. And I've picked one goal, okay, because I really wanted to, show you one thing. This is one of the many things that can be done in financial planning. But I'm sharing with you one, example. So let's take an example that, if let's say I shared you with you that if your living expenses are 250,000 shillings a year, and then, after 20 or 30 years, how much amount you need, right? Because to maintain your standard. So we have just built this example that if you have a Mr. X, working in a certain software company in Kenya, okay, he is currently 35 years of age, and let's say, he's going to retire at 60, and his expected life, your human life value, let's say, goes to up to 80 years, right? So which means that he's going to have a retired life, of around 20 years after he gets out of active employment or active business, wherever he is. Let's look at your monthly expense. So let's take an example. If the monthly expense is 100,000 shillings, which is actual right now, what you need to do first is to adjust that expenses and take out those expenses that will not exist at the time of your retirement. For example, if your current expense currently, will include expenses that you're incurring on your children, correct, on their school fees, and you know that 20 years down the line when they'll be independent, you're not going to have those expenses. So adjust your current expenses to take out those that will not exist. So for example, I've taken the monthly expenses have been brought down from 100,000 to 80,000. Then now we are talking about, then you need to know that what are your current investment returns. Now this is an area that you can take any measures that you want, okay, but realistically take whatever returns you want to take based on what you're doing. If you're a person who invests in fixed deposit, please don't start assuming 10%, 12% return. Okay, go realistic with where you are. Current fixed deposit is giving 6%, 7%, whatever is the investment return, take that in your assumption, right? And take an inflation rate. So for this example, I've taken an inflation rate of 4%. Now, why it is very, very important, remember, to take inflation, because inflation is the biggest killer of your savings. You don't realize that, but I've showed you an example. Just an inflation at 250,000 shillings annually currently becomes 4 million shillings 4 years down. Nothing changes, only inflation kills it, right? So please remember that consider inflation as part of your investment plan. Okay. So now the question is, with this given data, okay, how much should Mr. X save, okay, per month, and invest today, okay, per month, how much it should save and invest today to have adequate corpus at the age of 60 years to meet these expenses. Okay, so that's the question that we are using as a case study. So let me share with you on how we do this calculation. Okay, don't worry about the computations. Again, as part of the toolkit, you have this example there, so you can go forward and can change the numbers and look at how it looks, right? But for this example, 4 steps are involved. The first step I already shared with you. Calculate what's your annual expense today. Then adjust it, for those expenses that will not exist. Now comes number 2. What are you going to do is that you will calculate a future value of this annual expense at the date of your retirement. So let's say if I am 40 right now and I incur 100,000 shillings, I want to find out that when I turn 60, how much will be the amount of this 100,000. What it will amount to with inflation. That is called a future value calculation. Right? Now let's say I reach the age of 60, correct, and now retired. Now I'm going to live another 20 years up to the age of 80, right? Which means that I need to find out that how much money I will need at the age of 60 years to continue surviving, let's say, with no income for the next 20 years. That is now called, a present value calculation, where you try to calculate the corpus that is required at the time of your retirement. Okay. Once you get that amount, okay, now you discount it back to today's time and say that how much do I need to start, saving every month and invest it so that I can have that capital available at the age of 60. Okay, so these are 4 steps involved, okay, in this process. Okay, so I've given that example here, that step 1, okay, is that at the age, what is my current annual expense. Okay, so let's say 80,000 shilling is your expense per month. That means that for a year it will become how much? 960,000. 960,000 shillings you need, today. So how much you will need at the age of 60 years to run 1 year? Okay. How much will 960,000 color will change and will become something else because of inflation? So what is that amount? So this 960,000 will amount to 5.2 million shillings at the age of 60 years. Remember, nothing has changed. Absolutely nothing has changed. To maintain your current lifestyle, you will need 5.2 million shillings based on the current standard you have. Then I have to live for another 20 years. So how much money I need? Because then I don't have any income, right? Then in step number 3, you come to know that, okay, I will need 78 million shillings on the date of my retirement, okay, to keep me running successfully for the next 20 years with no, downsize, okay, on my standard of living. So that is the corpus you need. Now you bring it back to today's time, that how much do I need to save every month, okay, and invest it before, I spend. So remember, in financial planning, you save first and then spend, not spend first and say what is left to save. No, you have to change the formula. You first save, then you spend. Okay, so how much do you need to save now every month for this person, Mr. X, and invest it so that he can have a 78 million corpus? He needs 100,000 shillings of investment to be done through savings every month to get to this at the end, right? So this is, as I said, in the toolkit, we have included this. Only remember that uh, you might not be able to do this. There is some financial knowledge that is required. You need to understand, the calculations of time value of money, to do these calculations, right? So if you know the calculations of time value of money, you should be good. But if you don't, okay, consult your, personal financial planner, or, appoint someone. It's an investment for you. Let me tell you, it's an investment for you to know how much you need to save today based on your monthly expenses, okay, to be able to cater to your retirement. If you're not going to invest that in, let's say, even if it's a one-off advice, with your financial planner, you'll be missing something big time. Okay? So please, consider, that as one of these examples, right? So basically, we will, slightly, we are just getting into the end, right? I would say that, looking at COVID, okay, there are two risks which are remote, but all of us run. One is disability, another is death. Okay, let's be cognizant about it. Okay, let us understand that in the eventuality of the remotest possibility, also if it hits you, okay, how are you going to run your family? Because they have aspirations, right? If something was to happen to you, what methods, modalities, structures are available for them in that unfortunate incident to quickly pick up and move on with life. Okay, so I think, with that